Version 1. The Sparkle Princess. NXT 2013. A new name steps onto the ramp. 5 feet tall, bright smile, blue sparkle gear, and a tutu that shimmered under the lights. Alexa Bliss didn't look dangerous. She looked like a cheerleader who wandered into the wrong arena. But underneath the glitter was a fierce competitor. Her first matches were short, often one-sided, but Bliss didn't flinch. She took bumps, got back up, and always looked like she had something to prove. She wasn't part of the 4 horsewomen. She wasn't in the main NXT spotlight, but she stood out, and that was enough. WWE saw potential, and within a year, she was ready for her first transformation. Version 2. The NXT heel manager. The tutu was gone, the smile faded, and Alexa Bliss showed her edge. In 2015, she turned heel and aligned herself with Blake and Murphy, the NXT Tag Team Champions. The new Bliss wore black leather, red streaks in her hair, and a permanent sneer. She slapped opponents, screamed at referees, interfered without hesitation. Her voice was sharp, her body language aggressive. This wasn't a sidekick, it was a signal. Alexa had presence, the kind that made her the center of every segment. She barely wrestled during this run, but she didn't need to. Her character work did the heavy lifting. And by the time Blake and Murphy started to fade, Bliss was already rising. Version 3. The 5-foot Goddess. SmackDown 2016. The women's division had just split across brands. On a roster filled with bigger names, Alexa Bliss debuted quietly, but within months, she was champion. The character? Vain, vicious, and razor-sharp on a mic. This was the Goddess. Perfect hair, perfect gear, and perfect delivery of every insult. She'd call herself the smartest woman in WWE, and then cheat to win anyway. She took the title from Becky Lynch, feuded with Bayley in brutal fashion, and later moved to Raw, where she dominated again. Alexa wasn't just a placeholder. She was the top heel in the division. The matches weren't flashy, but they were smart, tight psychology, clean storytelling. This was the version that held the Raw Women's Championship for over 220 days, longer than anyone at that time. The crowd booed, but they listened, and that was power. Version 4. Twisted Bliss. By 2019, something changed. Alexa was still heel, still cutting sharp promos, but there was a shift. Her outfits got bolder, her tone got colder. She started teaming with Nikki Cross, forming a strange friendship that fans weren't sure was real. One week, she'd defend Nikki. The next, she'd manipulate her. The Goddess was cracking, but not collapsing. Instead, she was evolving. This was Twisted Bliss. The Harley Quinn influence became more visible, playful but dangerous, charming but unhinged. She laughed louder, hit harder, but the audience could feel something underneath it. Alexa wasn't just a main girl anymore. She was becoming unpredictable, and that made her more interesting than ever. Version 5. The Fiend's Chosen. Summer 2020. Bray Wyatt's Fiend had torn through the roster, and then he turned his attention to Alexa Bliss. At first, she was a victim, staring blankly after attacks, speaking in riddles. But it didn't stop there. The lights would flicker, her voice would drop, her eyes distant. She had been changed. This wasn't Twisted Bliss anymore. This was something darker. Bliss entered the Firefly Funhouse world as a new kind of character, part horror film, part children's show. She wore black lipstick, leather gloves, and stood next to Bray as his eerie accomplice. She hypnotized opponents, attacked referees, smiled through beatdowns. This version blurred reality. It wasn't about wrestling anymore. It was about fear, and Alexa wore it well. Version 6. The Demonic Hostess. After the Fiend disappeared, Alexa stayed changed. She didn't need Bray Wyatt anymore. She had a new companion, Lilly, a haunted doll with button eyes and a stitched smile. Bliss hosted Alexa's Playground, a twisted talk show built on fake giggles and real threats. She swung alone on a swing set in the ring. She poured black goo from her mouth, She laughed during matches while opponents screamed. And somehow, it worked. This wasn't comedy. This was horror. Alexa was now the host of her own WWE world, one where logic didn't matter and pain was expected. She destroyed Shayna Baszler's psyche. She scared Nia Jax into silence. And at her peak, she nearly dethroned Charlotte Flair at Extreme Rules. But when Lilly was torn apart, something in Bliss broke too. The lights went out, and when they came back on, Alexa was gone. Version 7. The Therapy Patient. 2022. Bliss returned, but not to the ring, to a therapist's office. In quiet, surreal weekly segments, she worked through her trauma, talking about Lilly, about control, about anger. Sometimes she was calm, sometimes she snapped. It wasn't a heel turn, it wasn't a face turn, it was something in between. WWE used these segments to reset her, without erasing what came before. Fans weren't sure where it was going, but they watched. Because even stripped down, Alexa was compelling. And by the time she walked back to the ring for real, the question wasn't what version she was, it was what version she'd become next. Version 8. The Real Bliss returns. Late 2022 into 2023. Alexa Bliss walked back into Raw with new music, familiar gear, and no more dolls. No more swings. No more black goo. But the audience could feel it. Something was off. She smiled. She wrestled. She spoke clearly. But she wasn't fully there. The lines between character and person blurred. In a tag match with Bianca Belair, she teased a heel turn. Then the Wyatt logo flashed on screen. Bliss froze. And fans remembered. She had never really let go of what happened. Not to Bray, not to Lilly, not to herself. She challenged for the title at Royal Rumble 2023. And after the match, Uncle Howdy's shadow returned. The cycle had started again. But then Bliss disappeared. No explanation, no goodbye, just silence. And now, fans wait. Because if there's one thing Alexa Bliss has proven, it's that her next version will never look like the last. Bonus version, Raw's General Manager. It didn't come with a title reign. It didn't even come with ring gear. But in 2018, Alexa Bliss added something unexpected to her resume: authority. After an injury kept her out of action, WWE made her the on-screen general manager of Monday Night Raw. And surprisingly, she thrived. She wasn't loud, she wasn't overbearing. She was calculated, calm, dangerous in a different way. She booked matches with a smile, played favorites, stirred conflict without raising her voice. It wasn't the Alexa Bliss fans were used to, but it made sense. The character who once ruled the locker room with her words was now running the show with a clipboard. It was a short run, just a few months. But it showed something important. Even when she wasn't wrestling, Alexa Bliss still had power. Some superstars dominate with size, others with power. Alexa Bliss mastered transformation, not just gear or hair or music, but identity itself. Every few years, she tore one version down and built something new. Sparkle to Shadow, Prom Queen to Nightmare, Champion to Ghost, and now Icon to Active Competitor. Over the past year, she returned from maternity leave and renewed her presence on WWE TV. She qualified first for this year's Women's Money in the Bank ladder match on May 16th by winning a triple threat on SmackDown. She competed in Money in the Bank on June 7th, but didn't capture the briefcase. As of now, she's fully back on SmackDown and remains a strong featured competitor in the women's division. For over a decade, she's moved between divisions, timelines, and characters. Yet the core stayed the same. Presence, poise, control. Even now, fans cheer her live because they know when Alexa Bliss returns, it's never just a comeback. It's another version entirely. One we've never seen, one we didn't know we were waiting for. And with her current run, she's making it obvious all over again. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit subscribe. More stories like this are on the way. Next up, the many lives of Cody Rhodes, from dashing rookie to WrestleMania hero. Stay tuned.